Two more earthquakes were recorded tonight not far from Lugoff, Elgin. One happened around 8:45 tonight. It was a 2.1. The second at 9:05, it was 1.1. This makes 5 earthquakes today and 12 over the past 2 days. Of the 7 earthquakes yesterday, 2 of them were felt all across the Midlands into North Carolina and Georgia. Scott White with USC says cracks in the earth are readjusting, causing these quakes. He says while earthquakes are frequent, they aren't necessarily getting stronger.
One of the big questions that I often get is, are these earthquakes getting stronger with time? And the answer to that is not really.
The strongest quakes we've seen over the last couple of days were a 3.4 and a 3.6. And the United States Geological Survey is partnering with USC to determine the cause of the quakes. Thomas Pratt is a research scientist with the USGS and has more on their efforts.
We really don't know exactly what's causing these things. These earthquakes pop up throughout the eastern U.S. here and there, and we can't point to one particular cause. I should say that most earthquakes occur at plate boundaries like California and Alaska, etc. So it's odd to have them in the middle of a plate like in South Carolina or in the eastern US in general. And it's in the scientific community, it's a big question as to what's causing these. And there's a lot of theories out there, but we really don't have a good answer yet.
Meanwhile, Elgin town leaders want to hold a community meeting about the earthquakes. Once a time and date has been decided, they say they will notify the public. The event will be coordinated with state leaders, and we're being told it's going to be taking place at the Blaney Elementary School. But again, a time and date hasn't been scheduled just yet. And DHEC, for their part, tried to provide answers today as to what's going on, why so many quakes. Some residents wondering if DHEC-approved mining operations could be the cause. But DHEC says no, that is not the reason. The agency says mines in the area are surface pits, with the majority of those measuring 30 feet or less in depth. They say the shallowness of these mining pits would not be expected to contribute to the earthquakes. The agency says the deepest mine is 900 feet deep, located about 75 miles away from the Lugoff-Elgin area. And when it comes to homeowners insurance for an earthquake, you will need to do some investigating. Our Darcy Strickland talked to the acting director of the South Carolina Department of Insurance today to find out what you should do.
Let's talk more about what isn't typically covered under a homeowner's policy.
Well, 2 of the most common misperceptions are that flood and earthquake are covered under homeowner's policy, but that's generally not the case. So you can seek an additional policy for flood or earthquake, or sometimes you can add it on and amend your current policies. But I would say talk to your insurance agent and see what options you have available.
In case you're wondering, one of the safest buildings in the state during an earthquake, it's the State House in Columbia. Back when it went through major renovation work in the 90s, the state put in a new earthquake isolation system. Essentially, steel and rubber cylinders were placed between the bottom of the building and the ground so they act like shock absorbers for the structure. So during an earthquake, the bottom of the cylinders will move while the top stays fairly still to reduce the amount of movement applied to the building.